Boom. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. This is that moment of truth where we wait it. We wait for a little bit for it to wake up, making sure that it's here. There's a bit of a delay, folks. All right. I see it on the YouTube. We're on the YouTube. Good afternoon, YouTube. It's actually we're a little later than usual. So it's officially afternoon everywhere now. And we are on the Rock Fan. And it looks like we're there. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to all my East Coasters and good afternoon to all my West Coasters. Because, yeah, we're coming at you a little later than usual. I know if you listen to the audio podcast later, you're like, this does not apply to me. I get it. Yeah. But good evening to everyone in an evening time zone. And, of course, to everyone in the future. Solve climate change for the rest of us. Australia, New Zealand, you're a day ahead. Fix it, would you? We're counting on you. Please. Shout out to everyone who makes this show possible. Our friends over at ZT.com, ZHITEA.com. Their tea kind of rules. You can get it wholesale now because of the pandemic. And hopefully a Ron tea's coming. Fingers crossed. We're working on it. You'll be the first to know. And our friends over at triageoil.com, TRIAGE oil.com. Trendy name makes topical pain oil for your body. I use it myself. It works wonders. And our friends over at Indie Left. Indie Left is the only place to find all the articles and videos from all the content creators and streamers you know and love. They have a platform that gets updated twice a day. I'm part of it. All the people you know and love are part of it. And to learn more about what they got going on and to join their Discord community, they're dancing on the Discord. Go to independentleft.media. That's independentleft.media. Yours truly wrote their theme song. And if you want your own theme song, patreon.com/Ron Placone. One of the benefits of my Patreon, I'll make you a theme song. You just message me, let me know what you want in it, and I add you to the list of theme songs to pump out. Those have been a lot of fun. And that's for give what you can level, by the way. Whatever you're comfortable giving, that's what my Patreon costs. I have a tier list Patreon, TIER less Patreon. So it's a give what you can for everybody. All right. Without further ado, it is that time of the month. As I think we decided we're gonna roll with it, but please welcome. Yeah, you know her, you love her. She's hilarious. She's brilliant. She has a book out called "Yas Queen" with Pat the Burner. Please welcome back to the show, Savage Joy. What's up, Joy?
Oh, thank you so much. I can't live up to brilliant and hilarious.
Well, pressure's on. Pressure's on.
What's your shirt today? I didn't see it. You always wear band shirts for me.
You know what? Yeah, this is a Bad Religion t-shirt. You can't really tell. Yeah, the lower third kind of covers it. Here, I'll there you go.
Yeah. Nice.
That's a Bad Religion t-shirt. Thank you. Yeah, they're great. They're actually one of my but one of my more recent pre-pandemic shows that I got to go see. I saw Bad Religion at the Palladium. So let's give a cannabis update because some people have been following this. For anyone who might not be in the know, Joy has never tried pot before in her life. That's not the case for me. But so
no, you gotta say it how I say it because I always accidentally say I've never done pot before.
Oh yeah, Joy has never done pot. She's never done the wacky lettuce. Or the devil's lettuce, I think is what they say. But Joy's never tried pot. And so we decided her first time is going to be with me and whoever else, either in California or in Pennsylvania, somewhere, probably in California. But Joy's gonna have her first time via edible. She wants to do the edible route, and so we're gonna figure that out. And
but you're signing a waiver. It will not be filmed.
Yes, I'm not allowed to stream this as much as I want to.
I'm sure you will, and I'll forgive you anyway. But
there'll be a clause. I'll be like, well, you said it can't be filmed. This is streaming. It's not filmed. It's a stream. You never said anything.
It couldn't be recorded. It's not recorded.
Right. This is just a live stream. I mean, it's on the internet, but it's not recorded technically. But and I was telling you off mic. So my wife and I made these Rice Krispie treats, special Rice Krispie treats that are very, very powerful. Like I got too high on them a couple times. And so what we did was but here's the thing, they're really freaking tasty. Like if I gave you one of these, you would be like, oh, give me more. This is really good. And I'm not feeling anything. It'd be like, oh, Joy, they kick in. You got to wait. So you have to be really careful with them. And I would just eat too much because they're just very tasty. So we had to make a regular tray of Rice Krispie treats to combat that. So we had the special tray and the regular tray because it's like, look, if you just want a snack, here's the regular tray. And if you want to have a special fun time, there's the special tray.
Just
So
don't get them mixed up.
right, no kidding. And so yeah, if we made those for you, I'd have to do the same thing because I'd be like, okay, Joy, here's like one bite, and this is probably all you need. And he'd be like, gee, that was really tasty. I'd like a Rice Krispie treat, please. So I'd be like, okay, here's a regular. And that's how we'd have to do it. Because it is really, they are tasty. But like
I just don't want it to make me like hit on people. That's my main concern. Like, Pat's like my brother, and I don't want to be like, Pat, you're looking so good right now.
I don't think pot really. I've never had that effect from pot. I mean, I've gotten nervous that I've overshared in like different capacities. Like I've gone, usually it's people that I don't know super well, and something like politics comes up, and I'm worried that did I keep talking to the point where I alienated everyone? I guess I'm worried about that whenever any type of substance happens. I mean, I'm also worried about that if I drink a lot. Like I'm like, did I say? I'll usually ask my wife, did I say anything really stupid? And she'll
And she'll be
say,
like, more so than usual?
exactly. Or... yeah, she'll say nothing. Yeah, I think at one point she did say something like nothing that you wouldn't normally say. I was like, fair enough, I will take it. But I think my fear will be that you get paranoid. That's usually the way it goes down for somebody where it's their first time. Yeah, paranoia. The first time I did it, it just made me very lethargic and lazy. I was very young, and this was in Pittsburgh, the suburbs of Pittsburgh, obtained by my friend who was also 12 years old. So I'm gonna go out on the limb and say we didn't have the best shit. I think we had at best a mediocre product. And so it just kind of made me aloof, and I didn't really care for it, which is why I didn't get into it for a while. I didn't get into it again until college because my first experience was just dull. Like it wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was just dull. I laughed for like 5 minutes, and then I was just tired and aloof. And I thought this wasn't worth the 5 minutes of laughter. At one point, I did see the funniest looking tree I've ever seen in my life, which was in fact just a tree. But at the time, it was freaking hysterical. But then I got out of it. But then in college, I gave it the old sophomore try or whatever you call it, and discovered it was definitely okay. But so
I hope Lucy takes to me because I have a feeling I'm just gonna be like, Lucy, snuggle me, come here, you're so cute.
well, Lucy will be on catnip, presumably. I mean, if we're in a place where Lucy is present, which I guess would be like my apartment, Lucy will be on catnip. That's usually how we all roll. If a bunch of people, yeah, if a bunch of people are getting stoned, Lucy gets her drug too. You know, which is
well, they have wine for cats.
Do they?
Yeah, they totally do.
I'll have to try that. Is it act? I heard that pine water can make them buzzed. Like if they drink, and I heard this. I don't know if there's any truth to this because I heard this from my uncle, like my mom's brother, who was kind of like the goofy uncle, still is, and he told us that because one year when I was a kid, our family cat was drinking the pine water out of, like we had a Christmas tree, and our family cat, who is no longer with us, but he would drink the pine water. And my uncle told my mom it's because that makes cats drunk, which I thought was, I don't know if there's any truth in that.
Well, if there's stray cats at like Christmas tree farms, they are like party animals, literally.
Right. Well, and maybe that's why you will see that sort of thing. Maybe it does kind of get they get their buzz on if they get a little pine sap or something. But I'll have to check out the wine. She's always dug catnip, like it's always pleased her. So that's That's what she gets, and these days she just kind of gets it. She used to like the bubbles when she was a lot younger. Now she just is kind of like, I don't want to work. I mean, she'll still like the bubbles, but she also just like some good old fashioned catnip just on her cat tree. And she goes, I know what that is. I'll get to it when I'm ready. I'm feeling good. And that's kind of how she rolls. But so there's the cannabis update with Joy and Ron, because it's gonna happen. Joy is I really look forward to this. But I'm gonna find the right edibles for you. And when this pandemic is behind us, it's gonna be epic. It's gonna be savage, but in a good way. It's gonna be the good kind of savage.
All right.
Savagely fun.
I'm trusting you.
Check this out. Speaking of stuff that you can't trust, 21 Senate Democrats urge Biden to put recurring stimulus checks, unemployment aid extension, and recovery plan. So 21 Senate Democrats, led by Ron Wyden, are pushing Joe Biden to include recurring direct payments and an extension of jobless benefits in his economic recovery plan. They want the aid tied to economic conditions so it does not lapse too early. And Biden plans to unveil his infrastructure and recovery proposal Wednesday. As of the recording of this, that's tomorrow. So they're going to send him, they're basically going to send him a letter, or they're urging him. I think at some point they mention it's a letter. Yeah, so they wrote to him, which they've written to him in the past, and it's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. So they're writing to him again for a UBI. And it's been a year. And I think most Americans have just abandoned the idea that we're going to get the type of UBI that a lot of other countries just took for granted. What do you think? Do you think there's anything resembling a chance?
No. And, first of all, he already got your votes. I mean, we have no leverage. He doesn't care. And furthermore, people are getting vaccinations. People are becoming more active, and some people who worked from home are able to, like, a lot of teachers are going back to school, things like that. So I think he will use that as a rationalization as to why would we give out these checks now when millions of vaccines have been already used. Yeah, I agree with you that it's already been a year. I don't see this as feasible.
Do you think this is anything more than just theater? Because honestly, I don't. Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, it's like when Byrne first came out with Medicare for All. Well, I shouldn't say first did, but in 2017, he said it countless times, we have 15 people who signed on, 15 reps. Every single person in the universe knew it was not going to pass. And some of those 15 people were Kamala, Liz Warren. They knew it wasn't going to pass. They came out in their campaign, said they weren't supporting it. And people said, well, they signed on before. We knew it wasn't going to pass. Just like this, they know damn right well Biden isn't going to put it through. So look how great we are. We're trying to get you this. If you don't get it, it's because it's on Biden. Same thing with Chuck Schumer coming out and saying, oh, free college tuition. Oh, right. You totally support that. Okay. It's because, student debt cancellation. Right. There is literally no way in hell Biden is going to do that. So all of a sudden you come out and support it. And it's like, oh, he's turning a progressive page here. No, it's really not. So this is the same thing. It's safe. Let's put these things forward. It's not going to pass, but we'll look like the good guys.
Well, and I would go a little bit further even and say it's also safe for Biden, because again, this has gotten barely any coverage, first of all. And even though this is from a corporate outlet, this is from CNBC, but even still, like, this has barely been talked about. I doubt cable news is going to harp on it much. And it comes at a time where, again, people are kind of looking for the end. They're looking for the end of the tunnel. and people have just accepted, okay, yeah, we're not going to get a UBI. So it even Biden's going to come out smelling like a rose, because again, he'll just be able to pivot and be like, oh yeah, it just wasn't feasible because we were in recovery. Even though so many people are still just as desperate, there's still an economic devastation looming, but they're not going to tell you that truth. They're not going to tell you people have lost everything. They're going to try to sugarcoat everything, as they have since the beginning. And this is going to make Biden, like, this is convenient timing for Biden too. He's not even a scapegoat in this scenario.
Right. And I saw, I digress a bit, but as far as, verbiage and the way that they're handling things, Jen Psaki, the press secretary, yesterday literally said migrant shelters. So
oh, right.
That's what they're doing. They are, using certain terms, and likely he'll come up with something for, for not giving UBI. It's all semantics, and it's all, unfortunately people fall for it a lot. It's easier to have cognitive dissonance and not want to dissect these things and not want to acknowledge that, the Dems are just as garbage as the Republicans.
Well, and that's the problem too, because sometimes when people don't buy it, they buy the other load of snake oil. I mean, I think that the Democratic Party is the greatest recruiting tool for the Republicans. Because people see nonsense like this. They see like, oh, it's not kids in cages anymore. It's migrant facilities. Oh, they're sending a strongly worded letter about this thing that we're for sure not going to get. And we're going to be given the same load of bullshit we've been getting since the beginning. I mean, the other epic load of bullshit they throw at you is like, oh, this is the most progressive legislation in decades. You mean compared to all those other not pandemic times we have had? You mean compared to all those other not pandemics? Look, we know that Joe Biden would not be doing anything like this under normal circumstances. We know that, but we're in a freaking pandemic. It's an unprecedented time for about a century. You want to compare how we're doing, compare us to other countries. And by the way, we don't look so great. Don't compare it to what other presidents have done. Well, a pandemic wasn't going on. And they feed us this nonsense with a straight face. It's unbelievable. With a straight face, they feed us this absolute nonsense.
It's almost like the letter is almost like a equivalent to when we the people do petitions. I mean, we sign petitions all the time. I'm not discouraging people from signing petitions, but in a way, it is a way to just kind of satiate us and be like, see, we're doing something. But
at least the petitions, people give a shit. With the petitions, people care.
Won from it? What has been gained by a petition other than we had 200,000 people sign this petition?
Right. Well, I think it depends on the petition. I mean, I don't think I do think it is a useful tool, and it certainly can be. And I think they can be effective on the local level and stuff like that. I mean, nationally, yeah. I mean, I've not seen, crazy good results, and I'm sure you haven't either. But I see what you're saying. I think the difference is people signing that petition actually care about something. I would argue in this case, this is just political theater. This is just total political theater. I think the letter they're sending to Biden is just going to say LOL with a dick drawn on it, and that's going to be about it. So,
yeah.
But, yeah. So, yeah, I think we're in agreement. I mean, sometimes it's like you hope that, oh, maybe Joy will have a different perspective, but who would actually buy this shit? I mean, people do, but
wrong. Like
I hope we're wrong too.
Like, I mean, I made a post about this about a month ago on Twitter. I don't like saying "we told you so." I don't want to say that at all. I want to be like, you know what? I was wrong. I would love to say that, but I mean, we're not pessimistic. We're realistic, and I mean, it's sad, but we can't set ourselves up to have that disappointment. Shit's too bad as it is. I don't want to convince myself, ooh, this is hopeful. Maybe they'll
Yeah.
do this. Not doing that to my psyche. I'm not.
I would love to be proven wrong too. I mean, there's a million things I'd love to be proven wrong on. And here's hoping. But yeah, you can't sugarcoat what's out there right now. Like there's no reason. And it's not being hopeful when you well, actually, this is a philosophical question. Is it hopeful to kind of sugarcoat what's going on?
No, I think it's delusional.
Fair enough. I would agree with that. Yeah, I think it's can you not sugarcoat what's going on and still maintain hope?
You can. I don't have a lot, but like, okay, I just had Marianne Williamson on my show a few days ago. I have hope. She was like, oh, and something in me was just like totally changed by the conversation we had. So I do have some hope. I do. Now that could be a defense mechanism. Maybe I feel like I need to have hope because there are days when I'm like totally defeatist and I'm like, fuck that, I give up. What the hell's the point of any of this shit? But I feel like we have to have hope. It's just, my thoughts have changed as far as what gives me hope. Electoral politics, I have no hope in
Right.
whatsoever anymore. So I have hope for we the people. That's what I have
Yeah.
hope for.
I agree with you 110%. I think the one exception for me in electoralism is on the local level. I
Yeah.
still have, some I don't know if hope's the right word, but I definitely see the value in, trying to just get decent members of your community elected to positions. I mean, there's definitely value in that. There's no disputing that. So, and, so I said that I would not really get involved in anything local or anything electorally unless it's kind of local, and that's probably going to be the case for a while. There's one situation and one person that I'm excited about, and it's somebody running for city council in my district. So I do see a little bit of hope locally, and I see a little bit of things worth fighting for locally, but you know, beyond that, I have no hope in that stuff. I don't have hope in some symbolic letter, some saving face letter that 21 Democrats are going to sign. I do have hope in, stuff that happens in my neighborhood when, a bunch of people show up in Echo Park to defend houseless people. I do have hope when I see stuff like that. I do have hope when I see stuff like what's going on in Alabama with the Amazon unions or the effort to get a union. I do have hope when I see stuff like that. I do have hope when I see mutual aid efforts all across the country, and I do have hope when some of those start to receive national attention because of how well they're doing. I have hope when I eat a special Rice Krispie treat. I have hope then. But no,
I,
so
yeah,
yeah.
people tweet, we've seen this for a year, general strike, hashtag general strike. Well, I'd like to have hope that's going to actually happen.
I'm with you because I'm one of those people. I do
When and
tweet
where,
that.
dude? When and where?
I kn
Like,
I
Jesus
wish I
fuck.
had that answer. If I had that answer, I mean, I don't think there's any clear one answer to that because we're dealing with an unprecedented moment in history.
Well,
You
some
know,
people are saying May Day. I think May 1st would be a genius day.
I
Um,
think so too.
but I haven't seen any actual like organizers,
Well,
saying
that's the problem. I mean, the
this
the
is it.
problem the problem with where we're at right now is, first of all, we don't have where are the Emma Goldmans of our generation? Where are the Lucy Parsons? Where are the Eugene Debs? Those are the types of leaders we need. And those leaders, they're not going to be sitting in office somewhere. It ain't going to be there. If you think a politician is going to lead something like a general strike, you're dreaming. You're dreaming. Maybe if they're a city council member, that's possible, but otherwise, no. It sure as hell is not going to be a politician. It's never been that way. I don't think it ever will be. So we need a new set of labor leaders, really. That's what we
And it's
need.
gotta be a 50-state strategy. Like, if
It
it's
does.
gonna be huge, like, I'm in Pennsylvania, we're gonna need one for my state, for your state. California is huge, you'll probably need a few. Like, it would have to be on a huge scale.
Well, yeah, because you gotta shut the supply chain down. You gotta shut the
Yeah,
supply chain down to where the Jeff Bezos of the world and the Walmarts of the world are going, "What the fuck? We don't like what our bottom line looks like today. Fix it." Because those are the people who really control what the politicians do, and we know this.
yeah,
So, I mean, yeah, I don't think that the answer to how we start a general strike right now is in some book that was written years ago. I just don't think it's there. Not that there's anything wrong with reading, but I read books all the time, but I think that it's just going to take a mass collaborative effort. I mean, because you're going to need people looking out for each other in the interim. You're gonna need
absolutely.
you're gonna need mutual aid efforts. You're gonna need people looking out for each other's children, especially since a lot of kids still aren't going to school because of the pandemic. Make sure they're in school on Zoom. You're gonna need to make sure that everyone has their medicine, that no one goes food insecure anytime soon, that no one's going to lose their housing because their landlord's going to try to evict them because there's still loopholes where you can evict people during a freaking pandemic. All that is going to need to be into place for a general strike to be successful and to be safe for everybody. So, yeah, I mean,
And the
it's a
fear is too, certain jobs, they could say, we know there's a general strike coming up. If you call out that day, and people are going to be faced with, do I join or do I risk losing my job?
yeah,
And people can't lose their job.
yeah. I mean that's why people need to be united on that level so that a company couldn't get away with that, and that's
Right.
easier said than done. And I'm not trying to put it all on the backs of the workers because that's not fair. And plus, we have a society that is built so that it's very difficult to strike, and that's by design.
Mhm.
Other places they strike very easily because they have the type of society where it's easier for them because their healthcare isn't tied to their job, because they're not one paycheck away from going under, because they have a different type of just work life culture than we do, and those are tough things to climb over. But again, I mean, I talk about general strike a lot on this show, and I always throw it out there. If someone has a better answer, if someone has a better solution, I'm listening. Maybe there is a better solution out there. I haven't heard it yet. If there is, general strike, rent strike. I don't know of a better answer. That actually is who I endorsed in 2020. General strike, rent strike, VP. And that's probably who I'm going to endorse indefinitely until it's not necessary anymore, which hopefully, I'd like to live in a country where I don't think a general strike is necessary, but right now that's not the case. And if there's a better solution, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, same.
So, speaking of strikes and unions, I wanted to go here. As you know, they're fighting for the union out in Alabama with Amazon. So this is interesting here because this is kind of like all the get your news on with Ron centric stuff in one moment here, because you're dealing with unions and the working class and the struggle against the corporatocracy. You're also dealing with big tech and surveillance. I mean, these are all the things that Get Your News On with Ron talks about a lot, kind of in one, for instance, here. So Amazon, this is from CNBC as well, actually. Amazon loses effort to install camera to watch counting of ballots in pivotal union vote. So the NLRB, that's the organization behind trying to form the union, the workers at Amazon, on Monday, they rejected Amazon's motion asking the agency install a camera that would watch the ballot boxes containing the votes submitted by workers at its Alabama facility. The union election will kick into high gear today. It's in high gear today as the agency begins to count the votes. As you all remember yesterday on the show, that was when voting happened. They started the count today. This article predicts that the outcome is unlikely to be reached for several days. So we'll keep following this in real time. But the National Labor Relations Board, they rejected Amazon's request to install a video camera The closely watched vote in Bessemer, Alabama concluded Monday. So 5,800 workers were eligible to vote and joined the RWDSU. That's the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union. Vote counting was slated to begin at 11 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday. The final tally may be days or even weeks away. Now, Amazon wanted a video camera in their Birmingham office where votes will be tabulated to keep an eye. And they denied Amazon's request. Here's what they have to say about it. Through the mail ballot election in this matter is large, it is not, or excuse me, though the mail ballot election in this matter is large, it is not, as the employers asserts, of a special nature. The region will conduct the ballot count within view of observers participating via virtual platform, as well as in-person observers, and in accordance with agency procedures and protocols, including those for securing ballot boxes. In other words, this is a normal process. We have more mail votes because of the pandemic, and we already have a very transparent process. We're not going to let you overreach. And, I'll say this, then I'll turn it over to you, Joy. Normally, I am for as much transparency as possible in elections, regardless of how I feel about the players involved. I think that an election should be as open and fair and transparent as possible. But in this case, where you have Amazon who has been a total dishonest actor throughout this entire thing, who is lying about their working conditions, who is treating their employees who are just trying to take care of their sick coworkers as criminals, i.e. what happened with Christian Smalls and how he lost his job. When you see how Amazon has behaved, I'm glad they didn't get this camera request. They shouldn't have it. I would only expect them to use it for deceptive means anyway. And this process is already fair and transparent enough. They don't need it. So screw you, Amazon. I'm glad this was denied. What do you think?
I guess my initial thought was trepidation that they would zoom in and see how people voted and then fire those who voted for the union. That's my initial take. And that would be extremely advantageous for them, because if they, God, I hope they don't lose the union vote, but if they did, they wouldn't have those, those radical workers who still want the union working for them. They would just fire them and hire other people.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I mean, I guess when I say deceptive means, that falls under the deceptive mean thing, but I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's to intimidate workers. That's exactly what it's for.
Absolutely.
It's to intimidate them.
If you know your job's on the line and you're being filmed for which box you're going to check, it's an intimidation.
God, they are the worst of the worst. I mean, and just the way they have shamelessly lied. We covered yesterday on the show, we talked about how Jeff Bezos released a Twitter storm because he was mad about, some of the bad press they were getting, and he's mad about the idea of the union. So he sent out his minions to just troll on Twitter and just lie. I mean, that Amazon News account, it is one of the most deceptive accounts on all of Twitter. And it's run by somebody who has a marketing degree and decided, I am totally fine using my powers for pure evil. And I'm going to just do the bidding of Bezos. And
I screenshotted a lady yesterday who posted, you shouldn't need to take that many bathroom breaks anyway. You guys obviously have UTIs and need to use your health insurance that you're given and stuff. And I'm like, this chick literally is saying everyone who has to pee like a freaking normal person has a UTI. Obviously paid to say something that stupid.
Isn't it amazing that, and I feel like, not all of these people are actually real. Some of these people, like they've got to be just paid trolls, because I mean we've unmasked it time and time again that it's there are paid troll operations right here in the United States. That's why they really wanted you to be real upset about the Russian ones. They wanted you to ignore the ones that we have right here in our own backyard. And so Do you think that lady was even real? I mean, because sometimes you see these takes and you're just like, this can't be. You can't be a real person. Like, you just can't be. You're so ridiculous.
I think I actually do, because I researched her account. I do think she's a real person, but I absolutely think she's paid.
Yeah, I mean, it's
No conscience whatsoever. I mean, you cannot have a conscience and post something that ignorant. Like, I
well,
pee like every 2 freaking hours. It's not because I have a UTI, it's because I drink a lot of water.
I drink a lot of coffee and I pee a lot too. I mean, I really, because really, you only rent the coffee, and so I spend a good portion of my morning just peeing, and I'm pretty sure everything's okay. Sometimes the cat and I will pee in solidarity, and but I mean, there are people with like ridiculous takes out there, because then you see. I mean, that's one of the reasons I stay off Facebook as much as possible, because it's like I don't want to see. I don't want to see what people who I know in my life, like friends and families. I don't want to see their. I don't want to see their takes. The only time that is kind of helpful is I'll see a lot of the takes from like people I went to high school with, and I'll kind of think to myself, I'm like, there's a reason that I literally live as far away as I can get without physically being in the ocean. There's a lot of reasons for that. And this is one of them. This is one of those reasons. When I see takes like this, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I grew up around.
Yep.
But yeah, it's what do you think? Do you think it's gonna? What do you think's gonna happen? Do you think it's gonna win? Do you think they're gonna get the union?
Do I think there's enough people to vote for it? Yes. Do I trust that Amazon is not going to pull some shady shit? Hell no. I mean, they have
Mm.
money. I mean, money overrules everything. That's why I absolutely think they have the votes, but I don't know. I still have trepidation.
Well, if it happens, it's gonna spread, and they know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Amazon knows that. Amazon knows if this happens, because this is a domestic one. It'd be one thing if it was in a different country. I mean, there's what's it? I think it's Nissan, where the only plants that aren't unionized in the world are the ones here in the United States. um, which isn't funny, but you gotta laugh so you don't go nuts. But
Right.
but if it happens domestically, especially in Alabama, which is not known to be the most, free thinking of places typically, let's be honest. If Alabama gets it,
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to spread. And they know that.
Yeah, and shout out to Bernard and Killer Mike for bringing attention to it.
They both, did Killer Mike go down there?
Oh yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, it's kind of, he's in Atlanta, so it's kind of in
Yeah.
his neck of the woods. That's odd. Did he perform? Do you know?
No, they
Okay.
just both gave a speech.
That would have been so badass if he did a performance.
Oh
That
my
would've been so
God. I would have flown out there for that shit.
Let's go over to the super chat for a little bit here. We'll start with the Rockfin. Chris, what's up, buddy? Have to second what my friend Farkas said in the super chat. Haha. Have you been? Oh, okay. We'll go over to Farkas in a bit here. Have you been able to stomach any of the Chauvin trial yet? No, I've not been able to stomach any of it.
I
guy.
sat through. Oh my God. I was sick yesterday. I was just sick.
I've seen some of that guy who's defending him. Wait, I think the guy Nelson or something like that. The guy who's defending Derek Chauvin.
I don't know his name, but I want to vomit on him. Like, I literally want to walk up to him and just barf on him.
The stuff that guy is saying, the ridiculous excuses he's making. It's, oh no, he was distracted. People were, oh, you mean the people who were saying to the cop, please stop or you're going to kill that man? The person who was like, hey, I'm a doctor. You're going to kill him if you don't get off of him. Or maybe you're referring to George Floyd begging for his life. that
Mhm.
distracted the guy. He was distracted. That's why it happened.
You know,
He's physically kneeling on another human being. He just forgot he was doing it.
yeah, the one thing that, he was on drugs, he was blah blah blah. But the one thing that really stood out to me was dude literally said Mercedes Benz like 25 times. He kept saying, and Mr. Floyd was in his Mercedes Benz and he turned
Mm.
off the ignition in the Mercedes Benz and he walked out of that Mercedes Benz and he went back to the Mercedes Benz. And I'm like, dude, okay, he had a good car. Okay, who the hell gives a shit? What does
Well,
that have to do with anything?
here's Chris's question. One thing I've noticed so far is the copious amount of notes Chauvin is taking with a pen and notepad. What possibly can he constantly be writing down? Any thoughts, Ron and Savage Joy, on what it could be? What is Derek Chauvin writing in the courtroom? Wow.
I would say probably just quotes to try and twist. Well, if you said I was standing like this and so and so said I was standing like that, maybe you're both wrong. Like trying to contradict.
I don't think
That's
he's that bright. I honestly do
See, but
not think he's that
he's
bright.
sociopathic, and
He's a
sociopaths are very good at manipulation. That's an interesting question, though.
That is an interesting question. I think he's probably writing down all the excuses. I think he's probably, because I mean, his lawyer, who, I mean, wow, I get it. If you're a lawyer, you got to do the job, but holy shit, there's got to be a time where you just say, I can't ethically do this.
Right.
And I don't know how that lawyer, it's unbelievable. I mean,
if he has
watching
to
that
take
guy,
the stand, he's the dumbest mother effer in the entire universe.
yeah, I mean, well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's probably taking notes of excuses. I don't think Derek Chauvin's a very bright guy. Like, I don't think he's a very intelligent guy. I think he's evil. But I don't think being evil necessarily equates like okay, yeah, maybe he's a sociopath, but he might not be among the more manipulative ones because I don't think he's that bright. I
I
think
just thought of something. I wonder if, and this could be totally off base because I haven't thought of it before this question, but there is proof that George Floyd and he knew each other because they worked at the same club and they were both security. And I wonder if he's kind of like taking notes to address that if it comes up. Like if he can use that to, I knew the guy, I liked him, I wasn't doing it on purpose, like that kind of thing. Because that's a really weird twist. The fact that they knew each other is odd.
yeah, maybe he's anticipating that. I think that's possible. I mean, I don't think it's, and don't get me wrong, I don't think he's not bright to the point where he won't try to prepare. I mean, I think of course he will, but I don't think he's bright enough to really like be framing a bunch of gotcha moments for other people that have already been on the stand. Maybe he is, but he just does not strike me as a very bright guy. But I think usually I feel that way about cops, and by usually I mean always. Have you ever come across a cop where you're like, this guy is really, I mean, he could have been a professor or something, but he decided cop, which is
Total
usually
rocket scientist and rocket surgeon. Yeah.
I've never met a cop in my lifetime ever where I'm like, oh, this is a bright person. Like that's never ever happened because I don't think it exists. Like even when you get pulled over or something like that and you have to deal with it real quickly, you realize you're not talking to a very bright person. And
well, there was a study a few years ago, and I forget what state it was, but there was a study that came out that the typical police offices do not hire police with above XYZ IQ.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get
And
above
I
a certain
believe
level.
that.
So I'm going to change my answer, Chris. I think that Derek Chauvin is has a coloring book, and
Yeah,
he's playing connect the dots. They had to give him a set of crayons to keep him busy. That's my final answer.
feasible.
And also, so what Farkas said over here on the YouTubes, Derek Chauvin is a punk biz niche.
Accurate.
I haven't seen that in like 20 years. I haven't seen
Oh, I
anyone.
say that.
Do you?
Oh yeah, I
That's
say it all
awesome.
the time. I'm like, whatever, business. I
Well,
always say
thank you for that. Thank you for that, Farkas. I appreciate it very much, buddy. And Farkas says, needs a slap. Needs to be put in jail. Needs to be put in jail for the rest of his freaking life. That's honestly, that's what I want to see happen. Will it? I don't think so. I hope I'm wrong. Again, this show could just be called I Hope I'm Fucking Wrong.
Yeah.
90%
I
of
hope
the time.
I'm
And
wrong.
sometimes I hope I'm right, but yeah.
Right or wrong.
Right or wrong. Perfect. Do you think there's any chance he's gonna go to jail? Or...
I don't. I don't. And you know, I hope that there is a bigger uprising than we have ever freaking seen in our entire country, and I will freaking be there, hands down. But I mean, look at Breonna Taylor. Look at every freaking case. I don't think this is going to be different. And you know, and I definitely don't think the douche canoes who stood by and blocked and let him do it. I don't think anything's going to happen to them for sure.
No, for sure, nothing's gonna happen to them. The only thing, and I overall I do agree with you. I don't think anything's gonna happen, but the one area where I think, well, I could be wrong this time. I could be wrong this time. And I feel like I'm about to go kick the football Lucy is holding. I really do feel that way. Not my Lucy, the other one. But
Yeah.
I is because this is the first time, at least that I'm aware of, where there hasn't been enough time that has gone by to where the story itself is really out of the public eye. Every other time that has been the case, and that's by design. It's not just the quote wheels of justice moving slow. It's by design because they want to be able to let these cops off without public scrutiny, and they hide under the guise of fairness. In reality, they just want to be able to get away with their corruption, where cops can just kill people with zero consequence. So this is the first time where it hasn't left the public's eye yet. It really hasn't. People are still angry. People are still very much aware and very much awake and are very much tuning into what's happening. To the point where, I mean, they even have stuff outside the courtroom. They have like a wired fence and stuff. So that might. And I'm thinking maybe 5% chance, but hey, a chance nonetheless.
How the hell do you find a jury? Like, who the hell hasn't heard of this?
I know, right? I've wondered that too. I mean, I wonder that all the time. I mean, I remember wondering, like, how the hell, even as a young kid, I was like, how the hell are they going to find a jury for this OJ case? Like, how the hell are they going to find a jury for this? How are they going to, I mean, you wonder that a lot, and it's, we'll see. I again, hope I'm wrong. I don't think anything's going to happen to him. I really hope I'm wrong. He deserves to go to jail for the rest of his freaking life. And hopefully that happens. But Joy, where can people learn more about you?
In your dreams. No. So my Twitter is at SavageJoyMarie1. And my show I do on Roar Media Live. I suggest Rockfin because YouTube, has certain words like, that they like to drop our streams when we use. So we just kind of spell it out. But we've been using Rockfin more. If you go to my YouTube, my YouTube, Savage Joy Marie Man, I have over 300 of my prior shows uploaded. If you want to see any past episodes, and then also get your Bizook, the Yas Queen Chronicles. It's a resistance parody that Pat Cody and I wrote. He's Peter Douche, aka Nate's Liver, Pat the Burner, and Ron's read it. It's a fun book.
I've read the book, yeah, and you can get that at savageandpat.com. Pick up your
You
copy
got
today.
it.
And of course, you can see Joy the last Tuesday of every month right here on Get Your News On with Ron.
That time of the month.
That time of the month with Joy.
Period.
Joy. Yes. Joy, thanks for hanging out. Good to see you as always. And thank you very much again to Farkas and to Chris over on the Rockfin and over on the YouTubes. Y'all help keep this show on the air. We could not do it without you. Tomorrow we're gonna have a crypto-centric episode where comedian Rosie Tran is gonna fill us in on what's going on in the crypto world. She's very knowledgeable on crypto. She's very funny. She's great. Y'all are going to love her. It's going to be a really fun episode. That's happening tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Our regular time. We're a little different today because Joy had an appointment. But yeah, in the meantime, y'all know the drill. Duchess says woof. Right?
She says more of a ow, but yeah.
All right. We'll just go woof. But she says, ow. Lucy says meow. Where is she? She left her couch. Oh, she's on the couch. But Lucy says meow. And Joy says peace. And I say peace. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.